Hello, everybody. So what is the switch statement? The switch statement is a multiple alternative decision structure that allows users to test the value of a variable or an expression and then use that value to determine what statement or statements to run. And this statement is primarily used when there are multiple different outcomes that can be returned depending on the value of a single variable. So it's a lot like if else if statements. It's just used as an alternative. And this is because instead of having a really long series of if else statements that can be really hard to read or that could make your code look really unorganized, it makes it more organized and easier to read for both the coder and anybody else trying to look at your code. So switch statements can use case, which is the variable used to determine what block of code to run. And the default case is the block of code that will run if none of the cases match the switch expression. So if you input a 4 but there's only case 1, 2, and 3, it will run the default case because 4 is not available or it does not exist. And the break statement is needed at the end of each case to terminate and exit the switch statement, or else the code will not know what to do at the end. So an analogy that I thought of to explain switch statements was using a shopping mall directory. So let's say you're in a really large mall with a bunch of different floors. We have floor 1, which sells shoes, floor 2 that sells clothing, and floor 3 that sells food. And I added a floor 0 that just has a help desk. And so you're looking for an item when you're shopping, and when you go to the directory, and you input what kind of item that you're looking for, it's like checking in the switch statement, or it's what you're checking in the switch statement. So for example, if you're looking for clothes, you know you'll need to go to the second floor. In a switch statement, that's what determines what case block will be executed. So if you want to go to floor 2, which is case clothing, then it will execute what's in the coding block, which is take elevator to floor 2. So for each floor in the mall, it represents a different case in the switch statement in this analogy. So let's say you want to buy shoes, you go to the first floor. If you want to buy clothing, you go to the second floor. And if you want to buy food, you go to the third floor. So when you select a floor based on what you're shopping for, it's kind of like the switch statement executing a particular block of code, like I was saying before. So I'll do another example. If you're looking for food, it'll run case food, which says take elevator to floor 3. So let's say that you want to buy something that the mall doesn't have a floor for. So like books. So because there's no floors specifically for books, the directory will automatically take you to the default case, which runs if it doesn't find the value in any of the cases. So in this example for books, because there's no case books, it'll run the default, which takes you to floor 0 in this example, which is like the help desk, where you ask, like, where do I go for this? So for another example, you could do this for anything that's not here. So like furniture, there's not a floor for furniture. So the default case will run again. And the next one, this is my slide with an example and a diagram. So this example is a magic 8-ball. So with the input is a number, and depending on what number it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, or any other number, it will print out an answer for the user. So let's say the number is 2. Then it'll go to case 2, and then system.out.println no. And then that is what you're going to get. That's the output of it. And if you look at the diagram, That's what is being shown right here. So you get a number, and depending on what the number is, it will go to a block of code that it executes. So 1 will execute yes, and then break, and then exit the switch statement. And then same for 2, 3, 4, and then like I said before, default is if, let's say the number is 5, it'll run default. If the number is like 27, it'll run default. It's anything that's not a case. So not 1, 2, 3, or 4. And these are my references, and thank you for listening.